Welcome back to another exciting week of Last Week This Week, where we report marketing news from last week, but we report it this week. So we're only a week behind, and you people are way too behind in your knowledge for it to matter. That's my point of view. That was not meant. That's a terrible thing. There's just way too many things that people have to keep up on. So we think a week later it's just fine. I'm your host, Brian, joined by Maggie, the sober intern. So our first story of the day is Google's new three-strike policy. I think both Google and Facebook ads have been plagued by people that try to game the system or try to trick people or try to sell them crap that they didn't, that is not legitimate. Click here and we'll regrow your hair in 2 days if you buy this magic potion. There's certainly plenty of legitimate companies marketing on here, but I think anytime an illegitimate company markets anything that a consumer falls for, that consumer trust goes out the window, and so rightly so. I think Google is doing the smart thing and implementing a stricter three-strike and you're out policy. A lot of people are freaking out over it because, Facebook, to be honest, we run Facebook ads for a lot of people. We get violations all the time, and the violation is not all the time, but regularly enough to be concerned. And in every single case, the violation was picked up by the algorithm, not by a person. And when we've disputed it, the person's like, "Oh yeah, you're right. There's no issue here." But it's enough to turn the ad account off for 24 hours or a couple hours or whatever it ends up being before you can get it turned back on. It can be a very frustrating experience both for us and the client. So now people are worried that the same thing is going to happen on Google, but I think they have a pretty good system in place. It's going to be a 3 strikes and you're out. Your whole ad account will be suspended if you have three strikes. But with each strike you get, you'll be able to appeal it. And if you appeal it, it gets wiped away from your record. So it's not like, so if you're really doing something legitimate and you appeal it and they say, "Hey, you're right, that's fine," it's not going to count against you. The categories they're really going to hone in on is dishonest behavior, unapproved substances, and dangerous products or services. So they're really targeting the people that are pushing fake nonsense. So I think if we can weed out some of that, it'll help the rest of us. The first violation, they're going to issue a warning, which expires after 90 days, and a 3-day suspension. Second violation, within the 90 days, there'll be a 7-day suspension. And then if there's a third violation within those 90 days, the account will be suspended. So I think people are really worried about it. There's been a lot of buzz and discussion, but I think you really have to be running a pretty crappy account to have that many suspensions and issues that you can't appeal. So I think it's a good thing. I welcome weeding out some of the junk to make the legitimate ads that much better. Maggie, what story do you have for us today?
Well, Twitter is experimenting with downvoting. The upvotes and downvotes are just an experiment at this point and will be only available to some iOS users. Some will see icons as thumbs up and thumbs down, and others will see it as arrows. The downvotes aren't public, but the upvotes will be shown as likes. Nothing has been officially launched yet, but brands might be excited about this new feature because it could help them improve on things like brand development and product development.
Have I told you how much I hate Twitter?
Yes.
I hate it more now. I don't know why, because I've not used it in a long time, and I don't know if this feature is good or bad, but I'm going to choose to err on the side of hating it. F you, Twitter. So, my final story is Crocs, and I'm fairly certain Katie gave me this story as a big F you to me, followed by my F you to Twitter, because I hate Crocs. I think it's about 30 cents of extruded plastic being sold as a $20 pair of shoes, but I seem to be in the minority as everybody in my household has them. Anyway, I do actually think they're in the right here. Everywhere you go, it is they definitely have an iconic design, terrible iconic design, but they have an iconic design for rubber shoes that people seem to like. I probably have not expressed my feelings on those shoes emphatically enough, but I hate them. So they are suing, and I hope they win because I do think it's a valid company. They have a valid complaint here. Everywhere you go, Walmart, Hobby Lobby, huge brands have made knockoffs of almost identical items and just put a different brand on them. And Crocs was first. They do have the trademark, and now their legal team is gearing up to go after all these violations and get them shut down. So good on Crocs. They should be protecting their brand, and we'll see how that pans out. Their growth is expected to grow 65% this year, up to $2 billion. That is a lot of plastic shoes or rubber shoes or whatever they are. So unfortunately, I think we're going to see more and more of these weird loafers out in the wild. So that's the third story for today. Thanks for watching. After bombarding you with this super knowledge, here's our pun for the week.
Why do cab drivers make good content marketers?
I don't know. Why do they make good content marketers?
They can really drive in traffic.
Oh boy. All right. Well, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe for more content. And as always, what's your superpower?